Hello, listeners, and welcome to Elisha's Eerie History.
Elisha's eerie history.
Today, I am honored to be joined by PhD Jessica Roberts. We'll call her Jess today. And Jess is the director of Habitat Connectivity for Wild Virginia, a nonprofit that is dedicated to connecting and protecting the wildlands and waters of Virginia. Jessica has won many awards and been honored with many grants for her hard work and dedication to the field of conservation. Jess is an adjunct professor at the George Mason University, former Fulbright Research Fellow, and an aviary expert. So thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Since the production of this episode of Elisha's Eerie History, Jessica Roberts, PhD, has moved on to become the Principal Associate of U.S. Conservation in the Southern Appalachian region for the Pew Charitable Trust. She has started this position as of July 2025, continuing her mission of conservation in the United States of America. Congratulations, Jessica, and thank you again for all of your hard work. So to go into your career a little bit, what attracts you to birds? Do you have like a specific memory, or what brought you to this point where you're like, because you're a lot of your, from what I saw on your LinkedIn and stuff, your career, you were like an aviary technician and other things. So
Yeah.
was that on purpose? Was it an accident?
No, it was a little bit of an accident, although a lot of my friends who have known for a long time will say that like I've always been sort of a bird nerd. But for me, I when I was little, I always wanted to do like the classic thing of like, I want to work in Africa with the elephants and with the like really nice large animals that are more charismatic, things like that. Yeah. So, but when I got into my actual career, I worked actually for the Wildlife Center of Virginia for a time, who do wildlife rehab, and I worked with a lot of different type of birds, and I loved it. I thought they were fascinating, especially birds of prey. Like we worked with a lot of eagles, hawk species, owls. It was so much fun, and they were so interesting, and they had weird and individual personalities.
Okay.
It's like you really saw the intelligence behind their eyes. And even something as small as like an American robin. Like I worked with them for my PhD, and I mean they were so intelligent, and everybody thinks of them as kind of like this throwaway bird they don't really think about, but they're just so interesting. There's so many different types of species, and I just kind of went with it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
How did you end up at Wild Virginia? Was that the goal, or did you just fall into that as well?
Well, after my PhD, I always knew I wanted to work with some kind of nonprofit doing conservation work, because I wanted to work more on the nonprofit side versus any other side versus academia or something like that. Because I feel like I can have more of an impact with nonprofits.
Okay.
And Wild Virginia is really unique because you can work at the community level. So I work with I work with individuals, I work with other community-based organizations, but I also work at the higher levels. I work with lawmakers, I work with state agency folks. So like working at all those levels and kind of being the connector between them was a huge motivation. And it's a lot of fun. I didn't think it would be, well, I didn't think like working with lawmakers would be that much fun. I've worked a little bit in policy before, and half of my degree is learning a lot about policy.
Okay.
But I was kind of nervous about it. I thought it would be a little bit boring and a little bit just difficult because there's so much pushback with lawmakers.
Definitely.
But it's fun, and I want people to know it's fun talking with lawmakers and coming to a common ground.
Okay.
And I didn't think it would be, but it actually really is. So I enjoyed lobbying more than I thought I would. So
cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Was a day like for you? Are you like on Capitol Hill, like talking to people?
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, I work more with like the Virginia General Assembly, so like more that kind of work. So when the General Assembly was open this past winter, I was down in Richmond a lot. So I was there lobbying some days. But it's a lot of like getting, ordinary folks who live in Virginia who are voters to go down to Richmond as well to lobby and talk with their lawmakers or send emails and just give them the correct information so, they know how important the work that we do in Wild Virginia is and and kind of what we're trying to advocate for, kind of just giving them the information, basically.
So you're in the winter, you're in Richmond, you said.
Yeah.
What do you do the rest of the season?
Yeah. So I work we have what's called the Virginia Wildlife Corridor Action Plan, which is really awesome. Wild Virginia and a bunch of other organizations in this Virginia Wildlife Safe Corridors Collaborative pushed to have state agencies make this plan, which is basically where wildlife moves and where there's a lot of vehicle traffic, where that overlaps, where we can put these like really cool passes.
Right.
So we have that plan, but it highlighted kind of general areas where we can put those overpasses and underpasses, but it didn't identify like exact locations.
Okay.
So right now what I do is I work with state agencies and other nonprofits like Wildlands Network, which is an amazing nonprofit. If I recommend you go look at it. It's a national conservation organization.
Okay.
And also to try to get more federal funding and try to get these projects put in place. So it's a lot of talking on the daily with all different people at all different levels to try to get on the same page about like, okay, what's the project we're going to work on now? And can we get federal funding and apply to federal funding for this one project? So we do that. I host lots of webinars to educate folks on habitat connectivity. So I created what's called Virginia's Habitat Connectivity Hub.
Okay.
It's on Wild Virginia's website and the Collaborative's website. We can give you all that info. But basically, it's all about habitat connectivity in Virginia. So this action plan, wildlife crossing research, aquatic organism passage research, which is kind of a different aspect. Yeah, which is a huge problem.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So we have like culverts, which are the things under highways, the like little tubes under highways where a stream goes.
Okay.
But they were built a little bit with not aquatic organisms in mind.
Right.
So they don't facilitate the movement of like if a fish wants to go to a higher part of the stream, they can't.
Yeah.
They have this sort of like blockage. So we're doing that kind of stuff, and you can find all this stuff on our hub. And then I use that hub and host webinars to teach people about habitat connectivity. So people become advocates themselves. They're like, oh, there's this culvert in my area that's not good at facilitating, deer movement or fish movement. Can we get it, replaced and improved to facilitate both?
Okay.
So we can reduce animals using the highway above, but also facilitate fish movement or, any other kind of aquatic organism movement. So that's kind of what I do is I educate a lot of people, and then I work with people at all levels to try to get these things in place.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, so it's a lot of collaboration.
It sounds like it sounds like you're probably emailing and calling people all day. Yeah.
It's just like wrestling cats, hosting meetings, a little bit of trying to get them all on the same page it takes a lot of time, and to get them to agree on one project takes a lot of time, but it's very rewarding. Yeah, at the end of it.
Yeah, it sounds like when it finally goes through, it's yeah. So would you say your biggest challenge then is just getting everyone to agree?
Yeah. Well, habitat connectivity is one of those conservation efforts that people kind of naturally agree to, because you don't want to hit a deer on the road.
Yeah.
And you don't want endangered species to get run over.
Yeah.
And things like habitat connectivity can open up more green spaces and help with climate change too. So it's it covers all different areas of conservation, and for the most part people agree on it. Mm-hmm. I didn't mention this, we're 9th in the nation for wildlife vehicle conflict. So
really?
Pretty high up there in terms.
That's really high, yeah.
Yeah. The biggest challenge is finding funding.
Definitely.
Yeah. So with any conservation, it's the funding. The conservation happens where the money goes. So there's a lot of new federal funding that came out just a couple years ago that we're trying to utilize, and we did actually get one for our Virginia Department of Transportation, so that was really awesome.
Good.
Yeah, to help put these crossings in place. But we don't have any dedicated state funding for this. Mm-hmm. So that's the biggest challenge is where do we get the money to put these things in place? Yeah.
So we do have a long way to go, but it starting with these projects you're talking about where it benefits the everyday man, and the state and their money. I think that's a awesome first step, and
hopefully. But I think our generations are a little bit more conservation minded, or we're
definitely,
because we have this weight of climate change over us.
Definitely.
It's I think we're a little bit more conservation minded, or at least we're open to a lot of different types of like more conservation policies and things like that. So fingers crossed. I'm hopeful for the future, even though it's always like very doom and gloom out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can be.
Yeah. You look for the helpers.
Definitely.
Yeah.
The reason I have Jessica here today is because I reached out to Wild Virginia asking if I could have someone be on an episode about the Carolina Parakeet. The Carolina Parakeet is the only known species of parrot to reside in Virginia. The last two known Carolina parakeets were named Incus and Lady Jane, and they resided in the Cincinnati Zoo together for over 32 years. The pair did not successfully reproduce. They were known to throw their eggs out of the nest, and the zoo did not attempt to incubate or preserve these eggs, or if they did, it is not written down or recorded. Lady Jane, the female bird, passed away in 1917, and then shortly after, Incus died in 1918. Parrots mate for life, and they experience grief and heartbreak when their partner dies, and so that is what led to Incus's death. These parakeets lived in the Cincinnati Zoo in the same aviary that housed the last known passenger pigeon to exist, named Martha. And then after Incus died, his body was frozen in a block of ice and sent to the Smithsonian to be taxidermied. However, it never made it to the Smithsonian.
Oh, wow, I never knew that.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it never made it. He's not... His body is nowhere, like, they don't know where it went.
Somebody has Incus somewhere, maybe?
Probably. Maybe,
wow.
like, a private tier took it, or, like, I don't know.
That's wild. I had no idea that he never made it.
Yeah.
That's not great.
Not good.
Yeah.
And these two parakeets are noted as the endling of the species, which is a term used to mark the end of a kind of species.
Yeah, so they were the last known in captivity.
Yes.
And so they were declared extinct, I think, in like 1930s, 1939.
1939, yes.
Yeah, so it was a little bit delayed because they maybe were still in the wild somewhere. It was like kind of hard to keep track of them. But yeah, the last ones in captivity were Incus and Lady Jane, super sad.
Yeah. Parakeets are a type of parrot, so all parakeets are parrots, but not all parrots are parakeets.
Correct.
Okay.
Good job.
Their scientific name is Coneuropsis carolensis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice job.
Cool.
Yeah.
And they were first written down in archives in 1580 when colonizers came to America.
Yeah.
They're a small parrot. They measure 12 inches in length, and they have green bodies with yellow or orange heads and then red markings.
Yeah.
People say they look like unripe mangoes
Yeah.
as a way to describe them.
Yeah, it was a way of camouflage with some of them if they were like near areas where mango trees were growing, which is kind of cool.
Okay,
Yes,
I didn't
they-
know there
like-
were mangoes in North America.
So like more like southern, so Florida,
Okay.
things like that, you can have like mango trees. So it was
Right.
like they think like Amazon parrots, they just blend so well into the background because they have this like green body, but then they
Right.
have like a little bit of some other color.
Okay.
So they just perfectly blend in with these like fruit trees like mangoes,
Wow.
which is really cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put exactly what you were gonna say, that they blended in with the canopy.
Yeah.
These birds also have forked tails, which is like a split tail, and they're known to be very intelligent. Some scientists compared them to dolphins or chimpanzees in intelligence, and I think the reason being is because they experienced emotional intelligence, which is like kind of controversial in the scientific community. It's becoming more of a thing.
Yeah, they have personalities, so there's a lot more studies on like animal personality, like individuals can be
Right.
like shy or bold, which is really cool. Or they have intelligence in terms of like problem solving. So like the way we kind of like characterize human intelligence is, can they problem solve? Can they identify something? So they can identify colors, some of them can count, problem solve, they can use tools. So it's like the intelligence of, you know, like a toddler or, you know, like a, I wouldn't say teenager, younger than that, but
Okay.
sort of like that level of intelligence, which is like dolphin or, yeah, chimpanzee, which is really cool. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, because dolphins are compared to like as smart as humans.
Sometimes, yeah.
Or
yeah, for
smarter
sure. Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah, they can
So,
definitely problem solve for sure.
Yeah.
And they definitely use tools, which is really neat. So, yeah, it's becoming really cool to see all the intelligence studies of animals out there. But parrots are definitely smart. They're adaptable, super smart. Yeah, they can. There's even like a great gray parrot that could learn human language, or it was like said that he could learn human language, which was really neat. So yeah, it's very interesting.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so these birds are known to be travel in large flocks and be extremely noisy. They also had a reputation for having bad attitudes. And the reason for this is because their diet mainly consists of insects and fruit, specifically the seeds of the fruit. And so as colonizers were growing fruit orchards, these parakeets would come in large groups and eat the seed of the fruit and then discard the fruit, so they were considered a nuisance.
Yeah.
Colonizers also did not like the parakeet because they were louder and sounded different than the European birds, and they thought the European birds were like better because of how they sounded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So they were also used ornamentally, both for colonizers and indigenous people. Indigenous people used the parakeet's feathers in headdresses and other ornamental wear. And then European colonizers used their plumage for hats, gowns, and hair accessories. It was called, like, hunting for plumage is how they called it. And it was highly valued to use parakeet feathers, to the point that in 1886, over 5 million parakeets had been killed for the New York fashion industry. And you can see photos, people have like entire wings, or they have like just like a feather in the hat, or like some people have like the entire bird.
The entire bird, yeah, I've seen that.
Strapped to their...
It's wild.
Yeah. Yeah, like a decaying animal just strapped to you.
Not great.
Yeah. So yeah, they were hunted for their plumage, and then they were also used as pets. Like most parrots, they're able to learn tricks. One of the most common tricks they would like teach the parrot would be like eat a seed out of someone's mouth or something like that. So yeah, we were used both for pets but also for fashion. And then, fun fact, when European settlers went back to Europe and brought the birds, they would often bring dead birds filled in rum-filled jars.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, as a way to preserve them better
Ooh.
and keep them, like, from collecting pests. And then they would, like, drink the rum as they went. So they would have, like, crazy parrot rum. Yeah.
That's especially concerning because I read somewhere that the Carolina parakeet was poisonous, actually.
Yeah, so I read that, too. You can't... They eat, like, a specific type of, like, briar that's like toxic to humans. So if you ate it and you ingested that, you could get sick. Yeah.
I heard that cats that ate the Carolina parakeet would get sick, and
wow.
Yeah, so that's wild that they had it in rum and were drinking the rum.
Yeah, apparently it was like common practice for a lot of like birds to preserve them and bring them to Europe.
Interesting.
They would keep the specimen in rum because that's like one of the only things they had. So yeah, that was crazy. Finally, the overall demise of the parakeet we talked about, farmers killing them. One specific story I heard was that the farmers, since parrots are so emotionally attached to each other, if you killed one of the parakeets, the flock wouldn't leave the dead specimen. So the farmer would kill like an entire flock really quickly. Yeah,
it's an unfortunate consequence of so many like social animals that have these like tight-knit groups that they are at risk, and when they're not protected, you can kill lots of them at one time.
Yeah. I was surprised to hear that, because I feel like, I don't know, I didn't think birds were that, like, they wouldn't leave, like, a dead, like, body. Like, you think of, like, elephants, like, mourn each other and stuff, but you don't really think about, like, you think that with mammals, but not necessarily birds. Another reason for the demise of the parakeet was deforestation. This goes in correlation with the farmers and the settlers. So as settlements came up across America, and as like cotton became a popular thing to grow, mass deforestation happened. About 25% of the Carolina parakeet's habitat was lost by the time of their extinction. Egg collecting and specimen collecting was another factor. By the 1870s, the parakeet population was dwindling, And private collections and privateers wanted final specimens and their eggs for profit, obviously. So they would collect them and keep them for themselves. And currently, there are only 12 sets of Carolina parakeet eggs existing in museums today, which is not that many. And then by the early 19th century, they were significantly decreased. And then on top of that, the introduction of honeybees to North America kind of hammered in this demise of the parakeet. So conservationists did not study the Carolina parakeet a lot, but a theory is that the honeybees share a habitat with the Carolina parakeet, which is they could live in either the hollows of trees or on tree limbs and stuff, which is also where the honeybees' habitat is. And so they think that the honeybees chased away a lot of parakeets from their habitat because that's obviously not a natural thing for them to encounter. And the last confirmed sighting of a Carolina parakeet in the wild was in 1904 in Okeechobee, Florida. And then by 1939, as you said earlier, they were officially declared extinct.
Yeah, so super unfortunate. Definitely. Yeah. That with the passenger pigeon, you know, it was just like they're some of the most iconic species that went extinct before we had any good laws in place to protect them. So
yeah, the passenger pigeon I was reading was one of the species that brought on the first federal laws to protect and conserve species, but like by that time it was like a little too late. Yeah, and yeah, there weren't any like breeding programs or anything like that. Yeah. So there was really like these guys really had no hope to come back because we didn't realize like everything that was going on.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, it's super interesting. I mean, like conservation itself as a field was just starting to become a thing back in that time period.
Right.
It's like Teddy Roosevelt in the early 1900s was one of the first presidents who had this sort of like conservationist mindset,
right.
And he helped get the national parks established and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So like all that mindset was just starting to happen. Before that, I think people just didn't like consider that quite that much in terms of like resource use and then using it to extinction.
Yeah.
But with Industrial Revolution, we saw how rapidly it was starting to happen. We were like, we're not really seeing this parakeet anymore. Where is it? And so like lots of independent individuals started kind of getting together, and like the Audubon Society became a thing back in that exact time period. So it was like right when everything was starting. So it's unfortunate we lost these species, but they were our inspiration to make a lot of these really great things that we have today.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's good way to phrase it. Inspiration. Yeah, I know. With the eerie history theme, I always sometimes I'm really sad, but I like that rephrase of like inspire us to do better. It's really nice. Yeah,
it's definitely a sad story for sure, especially when you bring it back to the two individuals left at the zoo, and like I didn't know that the last passenger pigeon and the last Carolina parakeets were in the same exact cage.
Yeah.
So they all died in the same cage. Like, that's super morbid.
Yeah. That is pretty morbid. Yeah, it is kind of crazy to think that.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I was also reading that one of the last, like, pets, like, couple birds, the owner painted the cage to, like, freshen up the cage a bit, and of course like everything was made with like lead and other crazy things, so the birds like chewed on the cage as birds do, and then they died. Those were the last known pet parakeets.
Okay. That's super sad.
That was grim. So you already mentioned a little bit, but like are there any parts of this story that really resonate with you, or that or really pull at your heartstrings?
For sure. I mean, I always think about, like, if I was given a chance to have a time machine, where would I would go back? And I would love to see America kind of, like, before we colonized it and what it actually looked like. I think it would be insane. I think it would just be super loud, like, with all the wildlife and everything we'd hear, and I would love to see that. I would love to see the Carolina parakeet. I'd love to see all different types of species that we've lost. So yeah, it's very inspiring to me. It's kind of just like one of those cautionary tales, basically, that unfortunately for conservationists like myself, we get kind of emotionally, exhausted a lot of the time
Yeah.
from these types of things. So like we kind of already know it. This is like the history that we learned when we started school and kind of stuff like this. So, but for me, the biggest inspiration is actually the year the Carolina Parakeet went extinct, the Migratory Bird Treaty Act was signed.
Okay.
So it's the exact same year Incas died, but the Migratory Bird Treaty Act got signed because we were losing our birds. And so, you know, even though we were like a little bit too late for the Carolina parakeet and the passenger pigeon, we weren't for a lot of other species, which is really nice to see. And then that momentum is really carried till today.
Definitely.
Like 100 or so years later is kind of incredible.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I think of a lot of stories we do hear about right now about different species across the globe, like, and especially during COVID when we were all inside. A lot of animals are really resilient. So there is a lot of hope. I listened to this other podcast called "You're Gonna Die Out There."
Yeah.
Have you heard of that?
I have. Yeah.
Yeah, they talk about the same thing about they talk about having like I forget what you called it, but it was you're burnt out essentially emotionally.
Yeah, it's like emotional fatigue or something we get from all the stories, and we get so constant pushback from lawmakers and everything that it gets hard to continue the passion. But yeah, I guess you just take the little wins is kind of the thing.
Definitely.
Yeah, so this is a sad tale. I would have loved to see the Carolina parakeet. It would have been so cool to have a parrot species in North America.
Yeah.
But, yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, I didn't include it in my research, but there's a lot of like pets that got loose in like North Carolina and South Carolina.
Yeah.
So there are like small parrot populations that exist. They're just not like native parrot populations.
No, they're like feral. There's like a bunch in Florida, feral parrot species that just got released.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you will see parrot species, but yeah, they're not native.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know of any species that are facing like a similar story right now? Anything you can think of?
It's hard to name one. In terms of parrots, definitely. There's just so many. I think over half of parrot species in the world have declining populations.
Oh, wow.
And I think like around 30% are actually listed as like endangered or threatened.
Oh, goodness.
So it's quite a bit. I worked with some in Brazil that were imperiled, like the venacious-breasted Amazon. They're imperiled by same things, human encroachment, so like habitat destruction. They live in the Atlantic forest in Brazil, which only has about 1% of its like extent currently remaining. Yeah, so really terrible in terms of habitat destruction. People take them as pets.
Right.
They're just used in the illegal pet trade all the time. But we have really cool laws in place that the Carolina parakeet didn't have. So we have things like CITES, where you're not allowed to technically take them for the pet trade or trade in them across country or really any lines. And in the United States, for sure. I mean, we have so many, unfortunately, threatened and endangered species. I think in the Endangered Species Act, the U.S. Endangered Species Act, I think there's like 1,700 species that are threatened and endangered.
Wow. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so we have quite a bit. But because they're listed on the Endangered Species Act, they're protected. So people can't actually take them. And then all of our federal and state agencies are required to kind of do a conservation plan and help them.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so even though there are a lot of them, it's a good thing because they can be protected now, and now we can study them and get funding for them and get to do their conservation appropriately. So,
gotcha.
Like the whooping crane in the U.S. is endangered.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, sandhill crane.
Wow.
All those guys.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry to bring it down.
No, it's okay. Yeah, because your Wild Virginia has a lot of webinars.
Yes.
And that's like one of your main campaigns right now.
Yeah.
I know there's one for like PFAS or something like that in the water.
Yep, PFAS, yeah.
PFAS.
Yeah.
And you guys are working on creating roads for like animals to not get hit.
Yes.
And those are some of the things. So if you're ever on the Wild Virginia website, they have a lot of amazing webinars to educate about. So
yes, please do. Yeah, my main thing is I'm the director of habitat connectivity. So my main thing is the road stuff or the habitat corridors. So we're trying to get our Virginia Department of Transportation to make more overpasses and underpasses when they're constructing or reconstructing roads in Virginia. So right now we don't have any overpasses for wildlife in Virginia. We have underpasses and ones that were built not for wildlife.
Okay.
And all we have to do is add exclusionary fencing to funnel wildlife to these existing underpasses.
Okay.
And it's amazing. The Virginia Transportation Research Council did research on it. It reduced deer crashes with vehicles almost by 100%.
Oh, wow.
Because they just use those underpasses.
Yeah.
And it increased other wildlife use by over something like 150% more other wildlife use the underpass. Yeah, so it's really incredible work. So that's mainly what I'm trying to do. So I work with state agencies, lawmakers to try to get these structures put in place, and then also getting community support for these structures, which is not difficult. Everybody wants these things.
Yeah, well, because I imagine like the money you're saving from people hitting the wildlife to put up I don't imagine it's that expensive to put up a fence versus that if an underpass already exists. Yeah, that's crazy.
Our Virginia Transportation Research Council estimated that a deer vehicle collision is something like $40,000 each in state and personal costs.
Wow,
it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's expensive, and then we
get injured.
It's not a fun time.
Yeah, it's not a fun time for anyone.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Cool. So looking at the future of Wild Virginia, or maybe even outside of Wild Virginia, your own professional development, what are your goals? What do you want to continue doing? What do you want to change? What do you want to do?
I mean, I love what I'm doing now, and I think I want to continue to work at this kind of cross between working with community members and lawmakers. Okay. So whatever would be to advance that. So I probably will be staying here at Wild Virginia for a while to advance more habitat connectivity. I'm super excited about it. And it's a great organization because I get to kind of run my program and come up with ideas. Yeah. And my boss, Calandra, is really wonderful. And she's kind of she always kind of has to peter me and my other conservation director down because we're always yay, we can do this. But in terms of creative process, she's really open to, us directing where these programs go.
Yeah.
So the other conservation director is water quality. So that's where you probably saw the PFAS stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have another one who does water quality stuff. I do habitat connectivity. So so it's a really fun organization. I'll probably stay here for a while, but I think I always want to work in conservation, and I think I always want to work in America because I just want to give back to the place that I call home, and America has a long way to go in terms of our own conservation.
Definitely.
So,
Definitely.
I think I could have a lot of an impact here. We haven't really treated our natural resources appropriately. We still don't. So I would love to be, hopefully, someone who can help with that.
Help change that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, I think about, you hear countries like Denmark and, all these European countries who are, way ahead of us. If someone wants to help you in your mission, what can they do at the individual level to help you? Who can they call? Who can they email?
Yes.
What do you recommend?
You can go to wildvirginia.org and sign up for our listserv, and that's probably the biggest and best way to stay up to date on kind of if you want an action alert, and we want to let you know oh, we would love for you to comment on this VDOT transportation project that would really, we would love to see a wildlife crossing put there. So that's the best way, because if you sign up for our listserv, you'll get all those action alerts, not just for habitat connectivity, but also for water quality. And also, I think the best thing for just in general is to know who your representatives are. So, I forget the website where you go and you look up your representative, but it's just Gov.
We can look it up.
Yeah. findyourrep.gov or something like that.
There's house.gov?
Yes,
okay.
Find Your Rep. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. So find your representative, house.gov. I think you just put in your zip code.
Yeah, it says your zip code.
Yeah. So I think that's the best way to find your representatives, because then you can, you can contact them with issues that are going on. So our organization and other conservation organizations will definitely let you know when a legislation is coming up.
Motion.
Yeah,
okay.
and you can go and you can speak to them, or you can speak in front of a panel, or you can send in a letter, a comment, an email. You can call them. A lot of people think that that's not impactful. it is definitely impactful.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, and I don't want people to give up on that process.
Yeah.
And just to, in general, like, to vote in people who have more of a conservation mindset in, you know, in general.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's, you know, it can go across all party lines, Democrat, Republican, because, again, old school Republicans love hunting, fishing.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we work with a lot of, like, Trout Unlimited, a lot of hunting, fishing groups, because, you know, that brings a lot of income for states. And
Definitely.
yeah, people think that conservation is good for everyone. We should have clean air, water, and we should have healthy wildlife for not only us, but, you know, just for our healthy ecosystems. So
Yeah.
I think those are the two best ones. Sign up for our listserv, or, you know, your local conservation organization.
Okay.
And yeah, they'll let you know where you can help out, but really just knowing your representatives is a huge first step.
Yeah, yeah. My two thoughts when you said that were, like, the word agro-tourism comes
Yes.
up a lot in Virginia.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I think, like, on both sides, people want to conserve agro-tourism because it's going to keep our state successful.
We do a lot of, like, the policy side and the advocacy side. But yeah, we have lots of action alerts. You can get involved, and it does matter. Like, a lot of our representatives are listening to us, and they're starting to make better legislation and fund those things. And even, like, messaging, like, your Virginia Transportation, like Virginia Department of Transportation, we at some point got enough letters that they considered a wildlife crossing in one area from the public's input. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, so it's out there.
Okay,
Yeah.
good to hear that, because I've always been someone, like, I'll call the representative and, like, talk to the intern and give the intern the message, and then I get in the mail, like, a letter from, like, the representative, and it always you feel so disconnected because you never actually speak to someone, or you get, like, an automated letter, so it does feel really, like, disconnected. But it's good to hear that actually helps.
Yeah, they tick it off and they say, I mean, if you get enough input, like enough of their constituents saying that they want this change, they definitely do listen.
Yeah.
Or hopefully. You know?
Yeah. I mean, they want to get revoted in, so I hear ya.
Yeah, so please do it and tell your neighbor.
Yeah. Cool. And then I guess my last question today is going to be, what advice would you give to any aspiring wildlife conservationist or anyone that wants to get into this field? Any advice?
I mean, there's so many different avenues. If you're in school, they usually have some kind of, like, program where you can get an internship. It used to be, and maybe it still is, but definitely in my time when I was doing internships, like, they wouldn't pay you for the internship, which was such a...
Yeah.
It wasn't great. So there was, like, this barrier to having people, like, if you don't have your own money, how are you going to be able to do these really cool experiences?
Yeah.
That hopefully is becoming less so. I'm seeing more universities give funding to students to be able to do internships.
Okay, good.
And my organization, we definitely pay our interns.
Good.
So we do not have an intern without pay.
Good.
So it's becoming more of a thing because we don't want there to be sort of this, like socioeconomic gap.
I was gonna say it's a class division.
Yeah. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I would say look for those organizations that are paying you, definitely, because there shouldn't be that gap.
Yeah.
But getting with professors who teach these kinds of things is a good way. I teach applied ecology, and I tell my students to contact me if they want internship help.
Okay.
And the Texas A&M has a job board that's amazing for conservation jobs.
Okay.
And it posts things for global. Like, it's like the place to post jobs, internships, any kind of opportunity with conservation on there. So it's really cool. So look for those opportunities. But yeah, I would say school is a good one if you can do it, but there are definitely other opportunities out there where you can just get with, like, a nonprofit or an organization to help them. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was an unpaid intern once,
Ugh.
and it was a rough summer because I had to like work a job to pay the bills and then do the unpaid internship, and it stinks because you can't you can't throw yourself into it like you want to. It is a class division.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
We need diverse voices in conservation because we need the folks who come from communities that need more conservation.
Yeah.
'Cause there's definitely, like, a socioeconomic gap in terms of, like pollution disproportionately affects people who are, of lower economic classes and things like that. So we need people from those communities to drive certain conservation initiatives.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I'm fingers crossed. I'm hoping it's becoming a little bit better out there. There's definitely the thing of like unpaid internships still
Yeah, that's
out there.
That's everywhere.
That's everywhere. But I am seeing more instances of universities trying to help kids get internships by paying them or like just guiding them to the right organizations that are paying.
Yeah, I agree. I think they do have those
I'm hoping.
intermediary people that help get you that extra step or
Yeah.
extra cash.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, professors, and then just contacting, I would say just even like cold calling or cold emailing an organization that you would like to get experience with. Sometimes they'll let you like write a blog or something.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah. As early in my career, the cold contact thing is like anytime I cold contact someone, I'm like, this is gonna go nowhere, and then sometimes it does go nowhere, and sometimes I'm interviewing someone on a couch, and I'm like, wow, I didn't imagine this was gonna happen. So yeah, I had a professor once tell me if you cold contacting, no one gets back to you, you're just one more phone call away from that person. And yeah, I feel that as an entrepreneur and stuff, you can't be afraid of rejection. You just have to keep going.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
Yeah. That's good advice.
I would
for
try
anyone.
it. I would try it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're open to it. I mean, Wild Virginia specifically, I would look for those that are like community based organizations because, like, hello, of course, we want to interact with the community.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Do you want to plug any socials for you or Wild Virginia?
Yeah, I would say wildvirginia.org for sure.
Okay.
You will find links to all of our different stuff, like the VISWIC, which is our Wildlife Safe Corridors Collaborative website, which has the link to Virginia's Habitat Connectivity Hub.
Okay.
But yeah, I can provide you the link with all that stuff. So I would say those are the biggest ones if you want to find out just general information and how to like get involved with like advocacy. Yeah, and I'm on LinkedIn too, Jessica Roberts. Yeah, you can find me. You can find me through Wild Virginia for sure.
Yeah.
Always interested in connecting over something. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming today. This has been awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
And I appreciate all your knowledge and just thank you so much. At the end of every episode, we rate the story on a scale of 1 to 10 E's. So 1 E is like not very scary. 10 E's is like super scary. How many E's do you give the Carolina Parakeet?
Ooh, I mean, I would say at least 8 E's.
8 E's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say you telling me that we lost the last in the mail, the specimen of the last Carolina Parakeet, that's pretty freaky itself.
Yeah, that was a crazy, it's a crazy story, which isn't surprising. I don't know if you bailed anything recently, but it'll get lost nowadays. So I couldn't imagine doing it in the 1918? Yeah. Someone
maybe made it into a hat. I say that's pretty creepy. People like just wearing an entire specimen of an animal on them is super creepy.
Yeah.
And they died. That's super creepy too.
Yeah. So 8 E's. I would say I'll give it 7 E's.
Okay.
Only because we have a lot of stories about like human death, which is like
that's fair.
Which to me is like, as far as the animal kingdom goes, like birds are like my least favorite type of animal. Unfortunately, I'm more of like a aquatic sea creature type of person.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So,
yeah. It would be. I think it would be kind of cool if we had birds haunting us. That would be pretty cool. Maybe we would have better conservation if our endangered species haunted us.
Yeah, that would be kind of crazy. Yeah.
Probably really annoying.
Definitely.
Just parrots are loud, and I can't imagine a flock of 300 just going over your house. It's wild.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
And we will see you guys next time on
E!
Okay. Perfect.
Thank you. This was amazing. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Alicia's eerie